Hello. Welcome to this new video. Today we're going to talk about a new type of Active Directory attack. And in this case, we're going to cover Kerberoasting. If you follow my channel, you know that in a previous video, we went over the golden ticket in which we were able to compromise multiple user accounts until we got to that golden ticket where we compromised or we were able to get the hashes for the Kerberos user account, finding any request as coming from Kerberos. So that was a very exciting type of attack, but there are a lot of hurdles that you have to go over to get to that level. Perhaps you can start testing your network with something simpler, such as Kerberoasting. When it comes to Kerberoasting, and let me show you what we have here for 1 second. This is going to be my Windows Server 2019 Active Directory domain. So let me show it to you. What we're going to be doing, we're going to compromise the hash of a service account. And as you know, there are a lot of service accounts running in a domain controller for various different reasons. You have all these applications that requires a service account. And sometimes administrators grant more privileges to the service accounts than the accounts require. That's why you have to implement the least privilege principle when it comes to things like that. But I know that sometimes it's easier said than done, right? When you want to get things done, things aren't working. Many admins just assign admin privileges to that user account and hope for the best because that's not something that they have to see in the future. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be getting the SPS of this service account that is running SQL Service. And we're going to do all that by authenticating as a regular user. In this case, I have a regular user that is just part of the domain users and does not have any privileges. I'm going to be carrying out the attack from my Kali computer that it is not domain joined, it's just a computer that is part of the same network, of course. And then I'm going to be using the credentials of this regular user account. Yes, you may be thinking, how do you know the credentials, the password of that user account? Well, there are many different ways that an attacker can know that information. And one of the simplest ways to do that is just by cracking the hash that is going to be able to obtain by using responder or any other type of attacks to capture that information. So that's besides the subject. What I want you to understand here is that this type of attack, if I can say it, even though it's not an attack, what we're doing here, we are taking advantage of Active Directory authentication mechanisms. And we're just using that to our advantage to obtain the hash of a service account. Now, we don't know if the service account has a very strong password or if it's being managed by a system that is securing or rotating that password, or if the service account has elevated privileges. We don't know that. But that's one of the easiest ways that we can start testing security and best practices in a network is just testing this and doing this to see if it works. So what we're going to be doing again, we're going to be accessing our domain controller. This is the IP address of my test network. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And what's going to happen here is that InPacket created a new file that we're going to load in memory. So future requests coming from InPackets are going to see those credentials in there, those hashes, and use that for authentication purposes when pulling that information. So if I come down here into my files, you can see that I have a regular user catch file. If I see what's in there, it's going to be just gibberish. As you can see here, because it's not information that we are going to use, that's information that InPacket is going to use when running later commands. And in order for us to take advantage of that, we need to load that information in memory. And we do that by using the export command, and we specify the file that we want to export or load into memory. And once we have that, we're ready to go to execute the commands. In this case, it's going to be in packet to successfully get the hashes for the service account. And we do that. Let me come back in here and let's go over the syntax. In this case, we're specifying that within in packet, we want to get the get user SPNs, and that's going to be the SPNs that are associated to all service accounts in Active Directory. Again, we are specifying the domains, the regular user. We have no password because we're going to be using the hash, that file that is saved, and we're going to specify the IP address of the domain controller. We want to send a request to get all the SPNs, and we want that output to be sent to a file, output file, and this is going to be the name of the file, Kerberos.txt. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and hit enter. And as you could see, it identified one account with SPS, and that is the this service account, SQL Service. Now, this is a test environment and I only have one account. But if you're doing this in a broader network, or if you're testing with authorization in your network, most likely you're going to see more than one service account with an SPN, right? So that's where you're going to see. So in this case, what we did, we sent that output to this file name. Let me come in here. Let me get rid of this. ls and is Kerberos.txt. Now, this is the Kerberos, not the NTLM. This is the Kerberos hash for that service account. Similarly to an NTLM version 1 or 2 hash, you need to crack the hash. You're not going to be able to use this hash to do a pass the hash because it's not NTLM. It's a Kerberos ticket or Kerberos hash that we have for that user account. But you can use any type of rainbow table or password cracking tool to be able to see if you can crack this password. Now, this is something that we have done in previous labs as well. And you can use Hashcat or John the Reaper or anything you would like to use to attempt to crack this hash into a plain text password. And this is something that we've done before. Remember, the mode in this case is 13100 to represent that we're doing Kerberos. This is the file name, and this is the name of the file that we want to use for that. And obviously, in this case, I do have a password that is part of that password file. So this is gonna be successful if you're doing this, just trying to crack a hash that you may or may not have the password. You have to be more creative when it comes to it. You may have to create a customized password file or use some type of online service for that. And this is the hash and the password representing that hash in plain text. Now, the fact that we have the password to a known username that is configured with an SPN as a service account does not mean we're going to have complete access to the domain, right? But we're taking one step forward into our pen testing when it comes to Active Directory, because now you can try logging in with that account, see if you can elevate your privileges or find a different way to log in or gain access to a different system. So we're going to stop this video tutorial in here. If you found this information useful, all I ask you to do is to click on the like button, consider subscribing to the channel, and stay tuned for the next video. Bye.